Assalamualaikum and hi. We are from Group 3. First of all, before we go in depth about our topic, can you guys guess what it is about based on the picture above? Okay, so I think you guys guessed it right. Based on the picture, there are vegetables, fruits, there are healthy food, and they also have junk food. So I think you guys know it is about diet. So our topic today is the knowledge, attitude and practice of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. Okay, so this is our group member and me Aisha as a group leader for group 3, and I am with my 6 group mates, and we will talk further about our topic on the next slide.
Today, we would like to share the findings of our research studies regarding the knowledge, attitude, and practice of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. Our study aimed to gain insights on the current state of dietary habits among these students and to identify the potential areas for improvement. So before that, let's dive into the abstract. The main objective for our research was to investigate the knowledge, attitude, and practice of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. We actually conducted a survey on 123 students from Bachelor of Pharmacy program and Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, and BBS program as our respondents. And to collect the data, we actually utilized Google Forms, which were distributed over a period of 21 days. Additionally, we also interviewed Miss Lau Chi Yen, which is a nutritionist at Yes Chiropractic in Ipoh, to support our research findings. And our results suggested that the majority of UniKL RCMP students demonstrated adequate knowledge of dietary habits, and most of these students answered positively to the knowledge-related questions in the survey. When it comes to attitudes, most of the students also portrayed a positive attitude towards dietary habits, and their response reflected a willingness to embrace a healthy eating practice. And based on the analysis of the questions, we found that these students exhibit a good level of practice when it comes to dietary habits, and their response indicated that they were implementing healthy eating behaviors. However, it is important to note that the findings for our study are specific to UniKL RCMP students and cannot be generalized to the entire population of university students in Malaysia. And to ensure a much more comprehensive understanding, it would be beneficial to conduct a similar research at other academic institutions. And the identified gaps in knowledge, attitudes, and practice of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students can be used to develop a targeted educational interventions and campus-wide shifts.
Hi, my name is Nuriza and I'll be presenting about the research background. So according to a study by the American College Health Association in 2020, approximately around 62% of college students reported consuming unhealthy diets. This study surveyed over 35,000 of students from 140 different institutions across the United States. Another alarming statistics from a systemic review, the study shows about 64% of males and 65% of females in Malaysia are either overweight or obese, which makes Malaysia the country with the highest rate of obesity and overweight in Asia, according to the WHO, World Health Organization in 2019. So this statistic highlight the prevalent issue of unhealthy dietary habits among university students, which emphasize the needs for intervention and educational programs to promote healthier eating behavior on campuses, which is why we are conducting a research about the knowledge, attitude, and practices on dietary habits among students in the UniKL RCMP. Okay, next is the problem statement. So apparently, a good dietary practices are essential for maintaining a person's health and well-being. However, as a university student, it may be challenging to prioritize a healthy diet. The combination of limited time, busy schedules, lack of nutritional education, financial constraints, and also social influences contribute to the adaptation of unhealthy food choices. As a result, students face increased risk of nutritional deficiencies, weight gain, fatigue, decreased concentration, and poor stress management, which impacting their physical health and also academic performances. It is crucial to address these challenges through targeted intervention and educational initiative to promote a healthier dietary habits and also improve the overall well-being of university students.
Assalamualaikum and hello, my name is Siti Aisyah. I will be presenting about the research objective, research question and also significance of the study. For the research objective, the objective of this research is to identify the knowledge, attitudes and practices of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. Next, for the research questions, the first one is what are the knowledge of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students? Secondly, what are the attitudes of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students? And lastly, what are the practices of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students? For the significance of the study, the category is university students, and the aim is to assess the participants' knowledge, attitudes and practice of dietary habits in their lifestyle, and also to offer fundamental knowledge that students can utilize to carry out a variety of strategies to increase awareness of dietary habits, and lastly to serve as an outline for additional study in this field.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Nura Akabakis and I will be presenting on the summary of literature review regarding knowledge on dietary habit among UniKL RCMP students. The knowledge of university students on nutritional intake plays a vital role in helping students to develop a good dietary habits. As they entered university, students encountered many changes, including in their meal patterns and choices. So, it has been proven that having adequate knowledge on nutrition can help students make a better choices in their daily meals to improve their health outcomes and well-being. For example, in a study done in 2013, it has been proven that being a science-based student plays a role in having a higher knowledge on good nutrition compared to non-science-based students. This is because they have a solid foundation in understanding how nutrition can physiologically affect the body. For example, they have a basic knowledge on biology, chemistry, physics, and even nutraceuticals that can help them learn in detail about supplements. So the information that they have received in the years of study can help them determine how much nutrition they needed in a day and what kind of nutrition is considered good or bad. Another study that has been done in the past in 2020 has shown that the common sources for students to receive information on dietary supplements are from the internet and website. So these two platforms has created easy accessibility for students to a vast amount of information on dietary supplement, on nutrition, from their benefits to their risks. Furthermore, it is an efficient way for students to collect information despite their busy university schedule. So using the internet complemented with credible scientific literatures and guidance from professionals, students can make a better and well-informed decision in their dietary intake. However, despite having a lots of knowledge on good nutritional intake, it may differ from one individual to another individual, depends on their attitudes and practices towards the information they have gathered. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Next is literature review, which is the attitudes of university students towards dietary habits. So the attitudes of university students actually plays an important role in shaping their overall health and well-being. And during the transition to university, these students frequently encounter new hurdles in upholding a healthy eating practice. This is due to external factors such as a diverse range of foods and a heightened autonomy in making dietary choices. And according to a recent study, various factors actually exert a significant influence on the food choices and eating habits of university students. These factors can include taste, perceived value for money, and accessibility of food and beverages. Lee et al. 2022. And apart from that, according to a finding of another piece of research, where university students are generally claim that their mental state was a significant element that affected both their eating habits and their choices of nutritional intake by Kabir et al. 2018. So university life can be stressful and students sometimes struggles to balance between the academic and their extracurricular activities. And this variable may influence the students' nutritional choices, which may lead to a greater reliance on unhealthy but quick and easy meals. So consequently, it is essential to recognize the external factors that can influence the students' attitudes towards their dietary habits. However, These factors can differ among individuals and not all students will be affected in the same way. So the next part of literature review is the practice of college students towards dietary habits. So having an understanding on the significance of dietary habits does not equate to doing so. So there are several indicators that might suggest university students can exhibit a poor dietary practice. This can include inadequate intakes of fruit and vegetables, excessive consumption of sugary beverages, and insufficient hydration. According to a recent study, it found the amount of fruit and vegetable consumed by students was significantly lower than it should be, which is a cause of concern according to Fazliza et al. 2021. And apart from that, a separate study that also found the majority of the respondents claim that they have ate meals on a daily basis, but the number of meals actually was less than 3. So due to the respondent tendency to avoid meals, snacking became the most popular option, according to Toh Chen Yun et al. 2018. So skipping meals will actually cause an increase in food consumption throughout the day, which will include frequent snackings. To conclude, the indicators presented here is used to demonstrate the areas of concern about the dietary habits of university students.
Next is research design. This survey research utilizes mix of qualitative and quantitative approach. Qualitative approach used to focus on collecting data through conversational communication, such as interview with the expert, like we had done before with Ms. Lau, and some important questions and opinion were asked during the interview regarding our topic. Next, quantitative approach that used to assess whether there are significant difference in knowledge, attitude, and practice of dietary habits among university students. Then the target population for this study are students from private university in Ipoh, Perak, which is UniKL RCMP, and the students from medical courses such as Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery students and Bachelor of Pharmacy students were chosen as a sample for this study because they are easy to reach and convenient.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Wan Ashraf and I will be explaining the second part of research methodology. Our group have been using two data collection instruments, which the first one is an interview session with Ms. Lau Chi Yan, a nutritionist at Yes Chiropractic Ipoh. The second data collection instrument is a survey form that has been distributed to all UniKL RCMP students. The interview session comprises of just one section with only 10 questions on UniKL RCMP students' knowledge, attitude, and practices about dietary habits. The survey form consists of three parts. The first one is about the respondents' permissions, the second is about demographics, and the third is about knowledge, attitudes, and practices about dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. Each knowledge, attitudes, and practices consists of 8 questions each. For the analysis procedure, in the interview session, the data is being collected from the answer from Ms. Lau Chi Yan. For the survey form, the data is reviewed and the greatest and lowest scores or percentage occurs is determined how often it comes. Next, I will explain the summary analysis findings for the survey forms for the demographic parts. Our data on gender distributions shows that 65.9% of the respondents consist of female, making them the majority, while the rest of the respondents, with a percentage of 34.1%, is a male respondents. Next, the age distribution. The highest number of the respondents are those in the range of age from 21 to 24 years old, with a percentage of 90.2%. The respondents with the age of 25 years old and above represents the lowest majority of the respondents, with a percentage of 1.6% only. For the races distributions, Malay are the majority races for the respondents with a percentage of 95.9%. The races which represent the lowest number of the respondents is the Indian with a percentage of 0.8%, which only consists of one respondent. We also collect the data on the program distributions. Majority of the respondents were taking Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery while answering the questionnaire with a percentage of 56.1%. Students that were taking Bachelor of Pharmacies make up the remaining number of the respondents with a percentage of 43.9%. Lastly, our group also collected the body mass index distribution for the respondents. 75.6% of the respondents belong in the category of normal body mass index, making them the majority category for the respondents. Only 3 of the respondents were in the category of obese for their body mass index, representing the minority category for the respondents.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Akila Balkis who will be presenting on the summary analysis findings survey form on the knowledge of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. Moving on to the first statement, I understand the importance of healthy dietary habits. 61% of the respondents or majority has answered strongly agree, 30.9% for agree, and 6.5% being neutral, 0.8% on disagree, and 0.8% on strongly disagree. Moving on to the next statement, I know more information about good dietary habits from the internet. 52% of the respondents or majority have answered strongly agree for this statement. 33.3% have answered agree, and 13% of the respondents are being neutral on this statement, 1.6% on disagree, and 0%, which means no respondent have answered strongly disagree to this statement. Moving on to the third statement, I am aware of the importance of choosing good supplements for regular basis. 43.1% of the respondents have answered strongly agree, being the majority. 39% have answered agree on the statement, and 9.8% being neutral. 8.1% disagree on the statement, and the lowest percentage, which is 0%, no respondents have answered strongly disagree. The next statement is, I understand that a bad dietary habit is one that affects someone's weight and causes chronic conditions such as obesity, malnutrition, high blood pressure, and etc. 67.5% of the respondents have answered strongly agree on this statement, as we can see on the figure above. 24.4% have answered agree, 6.5% are being neutral, 1.6% disagree, and the lowest percentage, which is another 0 respondents, have answered strongly disagree on the statement. The figure above shows the result for the statement, I am aware of the risk of taking health supplements excessively. 59% of the respondents, being the majority, have answered strongly agree for this statement. 30.3% have answered agree on the statement, 7.4% being neutrals, 2.5% or 3 respondents have answered disagree, and 1 respondents, being 0.8%, the minority, have answered strongly disagree.
Hi and Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Fadila. I will be continue summary analysis findings, survey form for attitudes of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. For the first statement, I believe it is important for all university students to be attentive to their dietary intakes. This figure shows the highest percentage of respondents, which is 61.8%, answered strongly agree, and 30.9% answered agree for this statement. There is only 5.7% answered neutral and 1.6% for disagree, and there is 0% has answered for strongly disagree. The second statement is, I feel that today's university students are unaware of their regular eating choices. This figure shows 38.2% of the respondent answered strongly agree, 30.9% answered agree, 20.3% are neutral, and 8.1% has answered disagree on the statement. And lastly, 2.4% answered strongly disagree. Next statement, I think that a person's BMI influences their dietary habits. Figure above displays the responses for the statement. 43.1% of the respondent or majority answered strongly agree, 32.5% answered agree on this statement. Next, 15.4% are neutral, followed by 8.1% answered disagree, and lastly 0.8% for strongly disagree. The figure displays the responses for the statement, I believe that consulting a nutritionist can help me to improve my dietary habits. Total of 48.8% of the respondent answered strongly agree for this statement. 32.5% answered agree. Other than that, 14.6% are neutral on this statement, followed by 4.1% answered disagree. Lastly, 0% answered for strongly disagree. Next, for the statement, I believe that nutrition education should be a mandatory part of the university curriculum. 45.5% of the respondents answered strongly agree. 31.7% answered agree. 17.1% are neutral on this statement, while 5.7% answered disagree and 0% answered for strongly disagree. The last part of summary analysis findings, survey form on practices of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. The first statement is, I will eat fruits and vegetables every day. There is 29.3% of the respondents answered for strongly agree, but there is also close result which is 25.2% answered for disagree. On the other hand, same result collected with 20.3% of respondents answered agree and neutral, and only 4.9% answered for strongly disagree. This figure shows the responses for the statement, I always have a complete meals every day because I have planned my budget wisely. The majority of the respondent, which is 28.5%, answered agree, followed by 26.8% of respondent answered strongly agree. There is 22.8% are neutral on this statement and 14.6% answered disagree. And only 7.3% answered strongly disagree with the statement. For the third statement, I will stop eating 3 hours before going to bed to avoid digestive issues. The figure reveals the responses for the statement, which is the highest percentage of the respondent, which is 29.3% answered disagree, while 22% are neutral. On the other hand, 20.3% of respondents answered strongly agree and 16.3% for agree. And the lowest percentage, which is 12.2%, answered strongly disagree. The next figure shows the responses for the statement, I usually choose healthy food over fast food. 30.1% of the respondents or majority answered neutral. On the other hand, the same result collected, 19.5% of respondents answered for both strongly agree and disagree. Next, 17.9% of the respondents answered for agree and only 13% answered strongly disagree for this statement. For the last statement, I will reduce sugar intake in every meal. The figure shows total of 27.6% of the respondents answered strongly agree. Other than that, the close result collected, which is 22%, answered strongly disagree. Meanwhile, 21.1% answered neutral with this statement. There is 15.4% of respondents answered disagree and 13.8% answered strongly disagree.
Next, I will be presenting about the summary analysis finding an interview about knowledge, attitude and practices on dietary habit among UniKL RCMP students. So, firstly, we asked the interviewee, which is Miss Lau, a certified nutritionist working at Yes Chiropractic Ipoh, to briefly explain about herself and her profession as a nutritionist. So she said that she had 6 years of experience in nutrition and she was graduated for Master in Human Nutritional Sciences from UST College, and currently she is working in Yes Chiropractic Center Ipoh as a freelance nutritionist for about 2 years. And secondly, we asked her to explain what is suggested daily dietary intake and calorie intake for uni student based on her knowledge regarding nutrition. And she said that we should choose good carbs over any food and option for brown rice instead of white rice because brown rice is healthier. Then the portion of food taken should be half of the plate is filled with colorful fruits and vegetables. After that, we asked her opinions towards our reading on BMI being major factor in influencing university students' daily food intake. So actually she disagreed on this statement because she said that BMI is less reliable because if someone has more muscle, it will affect the BMI reading. So the best indicator to evaluate the daily food intake is food to muscle ratio. After that, we asked her to share some factors that could lead to malnourishment cases among university students. So she responded that sugar being mainly and the most factor contributing to malnourishment. She also mentioned that students often option for convenience store food that obviously unhealthy and contains high level of sugar. She also said that one of the factors is the consumption of high level of macronutrients food that contains more fat than nutrients. Next, we asked her to share the most prominent case that she encountered in her whole career. So she shared one of case of a girl with skin breakout problem. So the girl probably stressed out of some factors like too much online classes and also busy university schedules. So the girl got steroid treatment by dermatologist, but unfortunately, it does not treat the root. Then, we seek for her advice about the fact that students tend to starve themselves to save money. She advised us to cook by yourself, and our plate should contain half portion of vegetables, quarter portion of carbohydrates, and quarter portion of proteins. So she also advised us to avoid starving ourselves. So the following question was regarding on her opinion towards research that has shown that fast food has been the main food of choice for university students. She was against this statement. She said that healthy food has the same price range with fast food. So it is better to buy healthy food because she concerned that fast food contains a great deal of sugar. She also reminded us to consume adequate number of vegetables. Then, we asked her point of view regarding the consumption of nutrition supplements such as Herbalife, Blackmores, multivitamins, etc. as a meal replacement among university students. So she suggested to look for possible toxicity of the supplements and to consult doctor before taking any supplements. Also, we need to know the different types of supplements because there are food grade and pharmaceutical grade of supplements. So after that, we questioned her about how students can make healthier choices to maintain a good dietary habits despite of having various choices and types of food that are available in university social events. So she gave us example about how to choose healthier food. So if we had white bread and whole wheat bread, obviously we should choose whole wheat bread. She also advised us to increase intake of fruits and vegetables and to limit unhealthy, delicious feast to stay in track of healthy dietary habits. And lastly, we demanded her to give suggestion to increase awareness among university students on good dietary habits. So she suggested to exercise regularly. Also, she hopes students to make effort about proper nutrition. She also suggested that university should provide low sugar beverages at university vending machine. And lastly, she suggested to take tiny steps toward a healthier diet and lifestyle.
Okay, now we'll be talking about the discussion on finding regarding differences and similarities of current research with the past researches and also the industry interviews. Differences of the current study compared to the past research and also the industry interviews. First, majority of the respondents voted strongly agree to the statement that they consume fruits and vegetables on daily basis. This is contradicting to the past research. According to the study by Faziza and the others in 2021, they found that the amount of fruits and vegetables consumed by the student was significantly lower than it should have been. This signifies that students of the UniKL RCMP are aware of the importance of taking fruits and vegetables to maintain their healthy dietary intakes on their daily basis. Next, majority of the university students are aware of the importance to be attentive to their dietary intake and believe that their daily intake of food is considered healthy. However, according to Chen Yuen and the others in 2018, They discovered that students prefer instant noodle and consumption of food that is high in fat, salt, and also sugar. And only a few of them would have a balanced meal that included a range of food. This statement is supported by our interviewee, Ms. Lau. She mentioned that students are more inclined to choose unhealthy food which contain high amount of sugar that could lead to contribution of malnourishment cases. This shows that UniKL RCMP students have a good knowledge and also positive attitudes and also practices regarding their daily dietary habits.
Okay, so for the similarity from the present research compared to the past research or industry interview, firstly, we can see most of the students had understanding on the importance of healthy dietary habits. And when we see at the industry interview, based on the interview with Ms. Lau, which is our experts in this topic, she had the same thought about the importance of eating healthy and choose food wisely for our daily life. And the second is majority of the samples agree that we can maintain a healthy and balanced diet by follow the food pyramids. And we can compare the similarity with the past research that according to Ion Sarat in an article titled Food Pyramid, the principle of a balanced diet, it stated that the food pyramid was designed to make people life easier to eat healthy, which we can get the right amount of nutrients to maintain good health when we eat based on the food pyramid.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Nura Akila Balkis binti Muhammad Karanwa, and today I will be presenting about the recommendation for future researchers to enhance the quality and effectivity of their research. For the first one is on the category of population and target sample. It is recommended for them to increase their sample size and variation. For example, our research is solely based on UniKL RCMP students. So for future researchers, they can broaden and widen their target respondents to other students from another universities. This will help them obtain a larger sample and a more variation in their data. So this variation and sample will increase the accuracy and reduce the random variability in the data. Moving on to the second one is on the sample category. It is advisable for the future researchers to broaden their choice of respondent. For example, now we are only focused on students, so for future researchers, it is recommended for them to distribute their survey form to lecturers or staff of the university, as good dietary habits is not only for students but for all people. We'll be moving on to how they can enhance the effectivity of their result analysis. So they can use softwares like SPSS or InVivo, as this software can help them generate a more accurate and precise data. Our last recommendation is on the data collection period. So for our group, we only have 2 weeks to distribute our survey form. So it is recommended for future researchers to have a longer distribution period, as a longer distribution period can help the researchers to achieve and find a more reliable findings and increase the number of respondents. So that is all for the recommendations. We will move on to the next topic.
Finally, for conclusion, the researchers are able to come to an agreement on the level of knowledge, attitude and practice of UniKL RCMP students towards dietary habit, which is at a good level based on the findings of these questionnaires. So to facilitate a healthy lifestyle among university students, it is imperative to provide support and assistance for them. Secondly, the researchers are able to fulfill the research objectives, which is to know the knowledge, attitude and practice of dietary habits among UniKL RCMP students. So that's all from us. Thank you.